see. Okay. You're live on.
Are you doing
Instagram?
Instagram?
Yeah, Irvin's doing Instagram, and we are live.
Can I say hi to them?
Give me a mic check.
Check.
Okay, yeah, we're live. Go.
Hey, folks, welcome. It's exciting. This is, what is the date? April what? 20th? April 20th, and tomorrow. 22nd? Come on, Ken.
Saturday.
Who are you, Luther?
22nd, 2022.
So tomorrow, Sunday, is the start of our 21st Purple Heart Project class, which begins the 2023 year. This is a class April, May, June, July, September, October. Some of the civilian students, actually one's already here, a couple of them have come in today. The vets will all arrive, fingers crossed. It's a lot of airplane rides to get everybody here on time. Anyway, it's going to be great. This will be the first time that we actually host the vets right here on the premises. So we turned 2 small businesses that we used to rent to into rooms. We bought a little house just off on that corner, or just on the other side of the shop. Completely renovated that. So we have room for 3 there, 2 in each of the rooms, so all 7 will be there, and it's nice. Nobody will be more than 50 feet away from their room. So this is our, tonight's topic is drawer making. We're going to host some questions about that, provide you with some answers, hopefully good ones. Give away some stuff. Tonight we're giving away our Moxon vise that we did an Instagram of, and we did a YouTube on making it. Did we not?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. So, and we said we would give this one away, so tonight we'll draw for that. We'll also have some prizes as donations come in. We give away one $300 prize for every $1,000, which is a pretty good ratio in donations that we get. We fund our Purple Heart Project through private donations, which we very much appreciate, and I know the vets do. Our cost, of course, everything keeps going up, but it's somewhere north of $300,000. We get to bring in 42 combat wounded vets each year. This year, the farthest away, I think we have one coming from, we got a digger coming from Australia. Last year, we had one from Ireland, we had one from Denmark. The majority come from the United States, and probably the next would be Canada. Anyway, so let's have a question. Fricka, you got one?
Yep, this one comes from Mahesh in Georgia.
Mahesh?
He says, if I made a drawer fit too loose, is there a fix, or do I need to remake the drawer?
No fix. Sorry. No fix. It's one of those, if you lose it, you lose it. You can't get it back. No reasonable fix. You could glue a piece of wood on the side and then plane some off, but that's not going to work. So no, you can always make it a little less tight, but you can't make it tighter. Sorry. But hey, just chalk it up to learning. In fact, when I teach, we haven't done it in a while, but I teach in a drawer making workshop. And we would do a 3-drawer, end table. And I would never let them do each part 3 times, because you would do 1 complete drawer, maybe a few screw-ups, do the 2nd drawer, a few less screw-ups, 3rd drawer, get it perfect. In real life, I would do every step 3 times. But you got to make sure that you know what you're doing before you tackle that, or else you end up with 3 bad drawers. Next, Frick.
This one's from Larry in Winchester, Virginia.
Hey, Larry.
He says, hi, Rob. I'm getting ready to do a kitchen remodel, and we'll have to make 17 drawer boxes. I've watched you for quite a while and know you love dovetail drawers, but is your recommendation for a strong drawer configuration that does not involve dovetails? Thanks.
Is there?
Yeah.
Just read the last sentence again, please.
I know you love dovetail drawers, but is your recommendation for a strong drawer configuration, or do you have a recommendation for a strong drawer configuration that does not involve dovetails?
Larry? Larry?
Yep.
Well, normally I would have said no, but we did, was that, I think that was a YouTube, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago. and we tested the strength of a dovetail, same widths, all the same materials. One corner was a dovetail, the other one was a rabbet joint, literally a rabbet joint. In fact, I don't have my whiteboard. If I had my whiteboard, I'd show. Jake, is a whiteboard out there? Whiteboard and a pen right there that I can write on. Just a simple rabbet joint. So in this case, the drawer front was the one that had the rabbet cut in it. The drawer side literally just came along and was glued into the rabbet. So there was nothing done on the drawer side. It was a square end. The drawer front had a rabbet cut in it. So you did not have any long grain to long grain glue surface. You had the long grain end. You had, let me get a piece of wood. Thank you. This will make it a lot easier. So here's your drawer front. And you simply glued in your drawer side. This was 3/4. And this was probably 1/2 inch. So if you think about it, you've got end grain here, you've got long grain here, you've got long grain here, you've got end grain here. So there is no, by all standards in woodworking, there was no good glue surface. Well, we glued it up, and then we tried it, and we couldn't break it. It was absolutely, I was stunned at how strong it was. And, you know, we set them down, we set both samples down on a slippery floor. So, you know, it was looking like this. And then we had the dovetail one, set it the same way, and standing on this, and we couldn't break it. It was amazing. So, all that to say, you could get away with a simple rabbet joint. Now, I can't help but say that I would probably come in here, if I was doing this, I would probably at least put some finish nails in here to help support it. And I did clamp it well, so it was pulled this way and it was pulled that way. So it was a good clamp, a well clamped joint, and it has, I think, did we go in and clean it up with the shoulder plane? Yeah. The inside of the rabbet. So, I mean, there was nice, clean, smooth surfaces, and it was remarkably strong. So you could probably easily do that and get away with it. Then you can paint some dovetails on the end. Next, Rick. Good luck with it, Larry. Let me know how you make out.
Next one comes from Willie Sanders in the chat.
Hi, Willie.
He says, what do you start with first, the drawer or the carcass?
Carcass.
He's from Oregon.
Oregon?
Yeah.
What part of Oregon? I lived in Oregon for 2 years. Always the drawer, always the carcass. You build, this is the sample one that I used to drag around with me on the wood show circuit. So you build this first. And this there's some things that you have to get right here. The sides have to be parallel to each other, and the top and bottom have to be parallel to each other. You want it to be square, but if it isn't, no big deal, as long as it's parallel. So if this were to be slanting that way, this one needs to be slanting in the same direction so that they're parallel. Once you've got that done, and you want the insides to be smooth, you want this bottom running surface here to be nice and smooth, you want up underneath here to be nice and smooth. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and you can fit that box into that hole, and the test is that you can close it by just pushing in with your finger. Now, just since we're on the topic, the challenge in building drawers and getting that, achieving that fit is not learning to work to those tolerances. It's realizing that you're working with a material that continuously moves. And if you're new to this, wood has moisture in it. So if I were to weigh this and it came in at 10 pounds, there would be probably, I should have grabbed an easier number. If this weighed 100 pounds, 6 pounds of that would be water weight, 6 to 8. Depending on the time of the year, it could go up or down. So there's always water in here, and that water has the same, it has to reach equilibrium with the surrounding atmosphere. So as high pressure system comes in and the air dries out, The water in here that's in excess now, based on the atmosphere, it's going to exhaust, and the drawer will be a little bit lighter. And the opposite is true. When low pressure comes in, this is going to grab moisture. So you can't make it too tight this way because it's going to expand up and down. But you can make it so that there's no side-to-side slop because you don't have to worry about movement in that direction. So when I say there's a lot of moving pieces, there is a lot of moving pieces. They're always moving. Next, Rick. Please.
John Root says, do you do the drawer pulls as the last thing?
Drawer pulls? Do I do the... Yeah, it depends. I mean, sometimes I integrate like this. I don't like drawer pulls. Why don't I like drawer pulls? They age a piece. They're sitting on the surface. They usually interrupt some nice, beautiful piece of wood. I much rather integrate into the design of the piece a method of opening it. So in this case, there's a little finger recess right there in the drawer divider, and then there's a little hollow on the underside of the drawer. So you just reach in with your finger and open it. On these ones, I did the opposite. No, I didn't do the opposite. On these ones, oh no, I did the same thing. Cancel that. Now on these, this is just still in prototype phase, but these have pulls, but these are designed to have a little card that will go in there telling you what's in there. So this is where I keep screws and nails, so I'll know what size is where. These ones, I just create a little recess so I can stick my finger in there. Again, I don't want anything that I'm going to catch my apron on when I walk by it. And on a nice piece of furniture, I mean, there's a piece up there that has drawer pulls on it, which I turned on the lathe, so that's not answering your question. The question was, what do I do last? If I'm actually, no, you got to have a drawer pull on it. You got to have a drawer pull on it in order to fit the drawer, because you're taking it in, taking it out a lot. I usually sometimes use a piece of masking tape so I can pull the drawer out, but it would be one of the last things, maybe not the last. Drawer bottom, yeah, oh, shoot. I'm getting farther into this than I was going to. Make your carcass. I'll give it to you real quick. Build your carcass. Finish your carcass. It's sanded on the inside. Now I got a lot of stuff to show you. Let me go over here and pick this up. You'll notice how clean my shop is, that in looking for something I want, I can walk right to it. As long as I remember what side I put it on. There it is there. Wasn't that impressive? I hope there's some comments coming in on that. So here's what I prepare. So it's a block of wood, flat. It's recessed on the sides. It's got sandpaper on it. And I would use that, without the back being in place, I would use that. I used to make them close to the actual width, to go side to side, and then down on the bottom, and up on the top, so that after it's built, I could go in and I could get as close as possible as making this nice and flat. That surface right there needs to be flat. We want it to be smooth, and we want it to be straight. Do the same thing on the other sides. Then I take my drawer back. So if you look at this drawer, the most valuable piece of timber is going to be the drawer front. Second would be the drawer side. But I could replace the drawer side if I screwed one up and not really suffered at all. But if I screw up the drawer front, especially if there's multiple drawers and I've carefully matched all the fronts, that's a big deal. The drawer back, however, is made out of a piece of what I would call secondary wood, which often is either aspen or poplar, pine. I take the drawer back and I use the drawer back to fit the opening. So it's an exhaustive process, so I can't explain it right now, but I make that drawer back so that it fits that opening exactly. Then I use that drawer back as a template, and I lay it over top of the drawer front, so I make sure that I match it up, top right. I lay that on top of there, and I use a knife to scribe after flushing up the bottoms, and then I will, on the shooting board, I will cut right to that line, which is my closest and best bet of getting these two pieces the exact same size. Before I do anything else, I'll then fit my drawer sides. And I want my drawer sides to just fit in the opening. I don't want to force them. Come in, tell Chris he can come in and have a seat. He's just out there. I'll fit those carefully until they just barely slide in there. I've been careful to make sure that they stay nice and flat. They're all finished on the inside, meaning you can't plane this after the fact, so this is all done beforehand. And then I'll go ahead and cut all the dovetails and do the final fit. Oh, I should say this too. So the secret to getting the perfect fit, Chris, there's a chair over here. Sure. The secret to getting the perfect fit is to set your marking gauge. Who am I talking to? This camera?
Yep.
Set your marking gauge to be a little bit less than the thickness of your drawer side. So, since I've got the props here, I may as well use them. We're giving away one of these Kim O'Connor creations that she came up with tonight, that purple one. Take my marking gauge, and I'm going to set it, not for the thickness of the drawer side, but just a little bit less. What's a little bit less? Maybe a 32nd of an inch. Lock it. And then I will scribe, just like you do with dovetails, the end of the tailboard, end of the pin board, front and back. Now, when you actually assemble the joint, since your marking gauge was less than the thickness of this side, when you put this together, it's going to bottom out in here, but it's going to be, the ends of the pin is going to be sunk down in a little bit. It's not going to be flush with the outside of the drawer. When it's all glued up, now what you do is you're going to plane the drawer side. And you plane it until you start to touch the ends of the pins, front and back. And you clean it all up. You're just now touching the pins, both sides. And that should be very close, if not fitting, the opening. That was a long answer. Hey, are we going to be able to take a little walk around tour? No.
What's that?
How far?
Not outside.
How far? We can go outside?
No, not a chance.
You could do it on the Instagram live after. So if you,
Okay.
if our I don't know, our batteries.
Well, actually, we just did it on Instagram the other day.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, at least get, well, here, just have a peek, Jake.
Give me a minute.
All right,
Go
next
down
question,
and
Frick. Here, let me show them what they're going to, so this is the Mox and Vice. This is our new kit. Ken, would you grab me I know it's a walk over there, a Mox and Vice kit, the new one? So we did an Instagram, we did a YouTube and an Instagram on making this Mox and Vice. It's a real simple one. It just literally goes on your bench. Close these up before you mount it. The reason I say that is the front jaw is a little bit wider than the bottom jaw. So when you put this in place, you're going to clamp it here and clamp it there. Chris, would you hand me 2 clamps in the top left corner, please? This is Chris. He's coming in. No, top left. Oh, okay. Yeah. Chris is here from St. George, Utah. He arrived today. No thanks to Air Canada.
Much to the dismay of Air Canada.
He's been promised his luggage. Little does he know. It's already been, I won't say it, in case it happens. Someone the other day, their luggage was given to a charity.
Very comfortable in these clothing.
So now all you do is open it up, and there you go. But I want to show you what some of the ideas that Jake gathered up. It's awkward to try to unwind this or open up these jaws with one hand, even 2 hands, because of the way you got to be pulling it. So we added springs to the kit. And the springs are in here, so while you're winding this back, it automatically brings your jaw forward. Now there's a little bit of play so that you can grab a hold of something that doesn't have parallel sides. We also, this was Jake's idea.
Well,
Or-
Luther and Amid as well.
Oh, is it? So there is a oil
Impregnated.
brass bushing.
Bronze.
Okay, why don't you say it?
Sleeve bushing.
Bronze sleeve bushing in there. It's about that wide. And that just makes it run a little bit smoother. We have Wonder Willie, and he takes our handles, drills and taps them, and we add these little knobs, which makes it so much easier than sitting there spinning that. And then whose idea was the cork, rubber cork?
Luther.
So the inside of the jaw, we give you in the kit. I'll show you this. It's already open.
Wow, that was really sharp.
So it comes with a piece of this rubber cork. It's got an adhesive back. You just peel it off and stick it on. Now, why do that? Well, because it gives you really good grip. It'll hold the piece a whole lot better than if it isn't there, and it protects it. Somebody asked me, well, why don't you put it on the inside as well? Well, you could if you wanted to.
Well, you want one positive surface, though.
So there's what the kit looks like. There's the 4 nuts, the washers. There's your oil hardened bushings, and just beware. Oil impregnated, whatever.
Not hardened.
True. If you set them down, you're going to get a little oil ring on your wood. There's your handles. You just screw those in, and there's an Allen, there's a socket on the end of that, so after you screw it in, you just reach in the backside to snug it up. And there's your 2 springs and your rods. Really, really easy to do and works wonderfully. The 2 big advantages. Number 1, it elevates your work. If you're planing, it's nice to have that bench somewhat lower so you can get over top of it. But you don't really want to be cutting dovetails down that low, especially as you get a little older, your back issues. So this brings it up at least 4, if not 5 inches for you. And the fact that most vices have rods underneath, which means you can only clamp your board, you can only get a hold of your board on the outside of the rod, which makes for awkward sawing because out here it's flapping about. You can tailor these, you can make them as wide as you want. So when you tighten that up, it holds the entire piece nice and secure. Just works wonderfully. So we're giving that one away tonight. Now, question, Frick? I'm watching the time because we're only on for an hour. So let me tell you what our I keep asking that. You got one ready, Frick?
I got lots ready.
Okay, well, hold on just one second. I'll tell them real quick. So we always do this on the week that we have a class. I don't know who I'm looking at. Yeah, Irvin, if you can stand there, then I can look at you both. So on class weeks, we do an hour on Saturday, and then on Thursday we'll be back, and we're going to do an hour out there, and we'll get to introduce some of the guys, and we'll just see what happens. They're always fun. Okay, now, Frick, go ahead, please.
Anthony wants to know what kind of drawers should you wear when woodworking?
Well, Moose, that sounds like a moose comment. What kind of drawers? Protective drawers.
Joseph Bushel wants to know, do you wax your drawer sides if they stick?
Yeah.
But not if they stick.
You
If
wax
they stick, there's a problem.
Yeah. Okay, it's a little deeper answer then. So I think I mentioned it. Maybe I didn't. After you've done your carcass and you've prepared the inside, then you wax the inside. Now all you have to do is you need to wax that surface. You need to wax the strip right here where the drawer actually runs on, and a strip up here where the drawer runs on. That's all done. Then when I'm done building the drawer, when that fits nicely meaning no side-to-side slop, but no resistance, and it just fits in there, front to back, doesn't bind, then I'll go ahead and I'll wax all of this. So I'll wax this surface, and this surface, and that'll make it fit even better. But if you've got a sticky point, like Jake said, if it's a sticky point, that means there's a discrepancy somewhere in the width of the opening or the width of the drawer, and you've got to go in and cure that because you want it to be the same dimension front to back, both the drawer and the opening. Closer you can get it, the sweeter it moves. I didn't bring it out in any of the drawers, but we're always building drawers in here. You just want them to fit so nice. That's the fun part of it. Even though these ones are just my tool, I shouldn't say just my tool cabinet, but we want those to fit well. And there's no hardware, right? It's just a box and a hole. Even the big ones. You can see all my contents. And now we're doing these. Now these are a little bit different, but same fit. It just has to be right. If it isn't, it would drive you crazy. Nice and smooth. Next, Frick.
Next one comes from Joey Cam in New Jersey.
Hey, Joey.
Do you have to have drawer slides to size the drawer?
Say that again, please.
Do you have to have drawer slides to size the drawer?
So I'm not.
Maybe I'll
Well,
get.
we don't. You don't.
Well,
use drawer
sometimes
slides.
so drawer slides, drawer guides. Some people call them guides, slides, whatever. Those are mechanical ball bearing apparatus that you use instead of properly made drawers. And do you need to have them? No, because you can usually look up and they'll tell you how much. They'll tell you what the dimensions need to be. Now, there's two different types. There's the one, I would call it the lighter duty one. One side actually runs on a track. The other side has, put it this way. Let me draw it. One side,
Turn. Yeah.
if this is your round bearing that it runs on, one side, the opposite track, encompasses the bearing like this. On the other side, you've got your bearing wheel, and then it's encompassed like this, so that there's a little bit of movement this way, whereas this one doesn't allow for that. That's looking into your drawer this way. Now, that's in that situation. If you have the drawers, these drawer guides that I actually do use on this because of the application.
They're trays, not
Yeah.
drawers.
These ones you have to have it the same width all the way in order for it to work. There's very little side to side slop allowed. If I'm reading your question or interpreting your question properly. Next, Frick. Oh, let's just have a quick peek out here. So I want you to just give you a little spin around. I'm really proud of this. This is the first time in my life. Had to hit 61 3/4 in order to be able to say that. That I actually had my shop clean as a whistle, where I actually know where everything is. So you start here. I still have that little spot right there to clean. And you just work your way around. These are mobile carts, so that stuff will
So
go
the
back
mess
over.
can be
and
transported
I'll send that
to
over to
Ken's
Ken's
shop.
shop. So you work your way around. All of our exotics are stacked here, not too deep, so that I can easily get at them. Lathe needs to be vacuumed, but I was just recently there. This is all my exotic wood, thanks to Ahmed. This is all the stuff, and I made the rows so that I could reach in there, and I could, the piles are all the same type of wood. This is all the material that we use for making saw handles. And then some of the more the shorter exotics are down there. Hey, where'd this stuff come from?
Must have been on that cart.
Who
Drawers
piled that
did.
in here?
Someone without authorization.
This walnut got piled in my shop. Yeah. I know where it's going after this. So this is the longs. Now this is all according to species. Pine on the bottom, 4-foot pieces and less. Shorts here. Maple here. Bird's eye.
No. Maple shorts.
Maple shorts and bird's eye
Maple
all
longer
together.
shorts.
Cherry here, walnut here, oak, cedar, all the different species. Over here, all of my Over here, these are all my exotics. I don't throw any of it out. So
Exotic scrap.
yeah, that's a piece of ambonia burl. Probably a $10 piece of wood right there. So I don't throw any of it out. These are all my bird's eye maple scraps. All my model airplanes that I don't have time to fly. I wish I did. My son-in-law who just hangs out here.
Somebody said they wish somebody would call Walnut in their shop.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, well.
he paid for it already. He just didn't want it there.
So I'm just going to give you a peek out here because we just, my wife and my daughter-in-law and our friend Anita worked here to redo the floor. So they power scrubbed the floor with a buffer, and then they went in and they waxed it I don't know how many times. What's that, Mickey?
Look at these two.
Who are these delinquents? Cleaned the floor all up, got the benches all back in place, lumber racks are all stacked. Got a little bit of stuff up here near the front that needs to be moved. How far can we
You
go?
can go out a little bit.
As you can see, it's extremely well lit. Now I want to draw your attention to that far corner. If you look way down there, it says Lucas's Lounge. So that is our quiet room. We've insulated that room, so if somebody has a bad headache, and a lot of the guys the vets have come to our class have had traumatic brain injuries known as TBIs, and something need to lay down. Well, we were searching for a name, and Al McNeil, Al works here. He is a 22-year retired Canadian Army. He retired as a tank commander, got blown up in his last tour in Afghanistan. And there's a story behind Lucas that I'm going to ask Al to tell, possibly Thursday night. It's a very good story. And that flag, that is the RCR, Royal Canadian Regiment, and that's their flag. And Kevin did the painting on it. You might not be able to see it very well from here, but it's even got the banner on the top, so it looks just like a flag. He just did a great job on it. So that's Lucas's Lounge. And if I wish I could take you out and show you the other stuff where we're going to house the vets, but. All right, next, Frick.
Close that door. They're too loud. I just want to give a quick shout out.
Oh yes, to Stella.
Yeah. So I'll show the picture of Jack.
So Jack Lane, and Jack is the head honcho, the commander of the bench brigade. Jack has been running that for 3+ years. We've delivered, I think we are over 100 benches now. Now, if you're new to this, I woke up about 3.5 years ago one night. Hadn't been sleeping that long. And I realized that we bring these guys in. Frick, do you want to show off your shirt? No, sir. All right. We bring these guys in. We have a week to teach them hand tool woodworking. We give them all these tools, excite them about the process, send them home. And I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder what they're working on. So I started calling some, and most of the ones I called hadn't done anything since. They didn't have a bench, nowhere to work. So I knew my plate was full. I couldn't do that justice. And I don't remember, Jack, tell me someday, because I don't remember how Jack and I made contact. But somehow Jack got a hold of me and said, Rob, I would love to run this for you. So Jack took it on, and I'm an organizational disaster until Luther stepped into my life. But Jack took it over and got volunteers, well over 300 in, I don't know, half a dozen different countries. And these volunteers agree to procure the materials, build the bench. We send them the vise to help them on the expense of that. And Jack coordinates it so that we can put as close as possible the builder with the receiver. And then when we can do it, the builder will actually personally deliver it to the vet and get a chance to meet. And then we have videos of that. Now, I need to tell you about the website, the Facebook page. And what's it called? The Purple Heart Facebook page?
For what? Purple Heart Project, PHP Facebook.
PHP Facebook page. And on there, you'll see these stories. We asked, every time this happens, we ask them to videotape it so everybody can enjoy it.
Actually, the name is The Purple Heart Project. That's the name of the
The Purple Heart Project on Facebook. So if you go on there, and then you'll get a chance to witness some of this as well. So Jack made us aware. How old, Stella? A year? So Stella was Jack's great-granddaughter, born at just over a pound, or just under a pound. You remember, Megan? Under. Just under a pound. Can you imagine that? Anyway, there was a long, hard-fought battle, but she survived, and Jack just met her, personally got to meet her for the first time this weekend. So that's pretty incredible. So the pictures are up. Hopefully you had a chance to see them. So we would always give out Stella! Big shout out. That was a little bit of a Seinfeld reference, in case you're not up on it. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more because we have a lot of stuff going on this week. We have tons of volunteers. We have people that just beg to come and be part of this. People ask me, why do you do it? I said, just come for an hour and you'll understand. So Frick is one of our biggest contributors. Frick is Mr. Barbecue. So Frick, how many nights a week do you do the meals?
2 usually.
2?
Sometimes
Plus-
3. Well,
plus-
I do a lunch as well, and I'll do part of the meal tomorrow when they arrive.
And you're eating right now.
I am.
I mean, he might not have time this year because of how busy he is.
Oh, right, yes.
extra
He's on
Maternity leave.
Paternity.
No.
Paternity.
Yeah, you getting paid for that?
Sure am.
Really?
Finally. Yep.
Said you were in a battle with them.
After 3 months.
So Frick does the barbecue. He also does host barbecues for the public. So as a fundraiser for Purple Heart, and just more of a way of making people aware. So Frick's in the room, and I wanted to point that out because he often thinks that he doesn't get any recognition. But
That's because you forget me every time.
and then we have Megan over here. So Megan is from a place called Kanosh, Utah. If you threw a dart at the state of Utah and you got right in the middle, you'd hit it. Well, you probably wouldn't because it's too small, but. So Megan and Jake have been married for 6 years? 5 years. They have little Moose. Have to introduce Big Moose. And Megan will be here working the whole time as well. She has a special kinship to it because she's an American, and 90% of our vets would be premonition of things to come. Jake is here. Jake is the what is Jake?
Megan's husband.
Megan's husband. Yeah. Jake's just always here. Jake takes care of everything, makes everything smooth, everything, fixes all the problems between he and Luther. They take care of all of the logistics to making this thing come off. And then Ken's managing the shop over here, but Ken keeps us, make sure that we have all of our lumber supplies. And
So he's probably the responsible for the walnut.
yes, that would be a clue. And we have Moose over here, and Moose has a stall in the city market, and his job is to get the guy that takes care of the rink to be nicer to us by spreading good cheer about the Purple Heart Project. And he has a display in there, so people come. It's a very big tourist town, and a lot of them now know about PHP because of going through and seeing Moose's display. He's also the purveyor of the infamous Dead Cat sweater. Who else? Anna, we have Anita. Anita's our cook. She really should be called our chef because the meals are incredible. And she'll be here. I'll just give you our schedule real quick. Everybody arrives at 7 in the morning each day. We go right to work. At 8:30 we break for breakfast. Breakfast is the highlight of the day. It's always a different breakfast and it is fantastic. My favorite's on Saturday morning. It's a traditional English breakfast. And then we go back to work. We work till about 1, and then we always have a lunch that is better than you'd expect. And then we come back to work. We work until 6 or 6:30, and then supper would be phenomenal. After supper, we come back in and we work until 10:30, 11, something like that. And we do that for 6 days. And in that time, they will learn to sharpen everything. They will learn to saw everything, chisel everything. They'll be able to build, they'll have the skills needed to build a piece of shaker furniture. That's probably a good way of describing it. And some of them will develop an expertise in that week. Others will be well on their way. But they will at least know how to do it and how to measure their progress and be able to leave and continue to improve. And this is Little Moose. Little Moose is one of my 7 grandsons, named after Big Moose. So his actual name is Bruce, and Bruce is his namesake. This is not really Moose, this is Bruce McLeod. My wife, Kim, tirelessly puts all the effort and tolerates me throughout this entire week and the week before and the week after. And the week after and the week after. We have Angie at home. Angie is right here. Angie and her sister Lynn take care of all of our t-shirts, our Purple Heart t-shirts. So if you get one and it comes incredibly well packaged, you can thank Angie. Ange, she was on FaceTime with us earlier. Big hello to you. We have Luther on his way. Luther Sheely, right here, the one in red. Luther is a retired U.S. Army colonel. Luther is my right-hand man in our business. Actually, he's more than a consultant. He's helped us. He's got our business to where it is today. But his heart is in the Purple Heart, and that's why it works so well. And beside him is Super Dave, which is his oldest son. Is his oldest son? I'm not sure. They look so much alike.
We got 15 minutes left.
Super Dave is a combat wounded vet from New York, and he will come here for 3 classes. Luther comes for the other 3. They share the responsibility of dealing with the vets that are coming to the classes. And that's my mentor, Dale Nish, and his wife, Noreen. I found that picture the other day, and I thought that deserves a spot up there. My daughter, Annika, my son, Rex, my son, Bo, my daughter, Chloe, and my daughter, Erica. Yeah, they're all involved in this in some capacity, whether it's cooking or helping out. Did I forget anybody?
Teresa,
oh yeah, the gal that manages the business next door, her dad was in World War II. She comes over every morning and does the prep work for the breakfast. She demands that we let her do that. So it's a community effort. And there are people that drop off cookies and just... When people find out about it, how could you not want to participate in helping combat wounded vets deal with what they've endured as a result of protecting our freedom? So, what's that, Frick?
we don't have access to the donation count.
We
We'll
just
have
have
to
no way
do
of...
the giveaways on Thursday.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
all right. So whatever was donated tonight, we will add that to Thursday night, and we'll give away those prizes then. But we do need to give away.
The Mox
We've
invites.
got we have time for some questions if you'll get to them.
Yes, go ahead, Frick.
This is from Dave M. He's in the chat.
Dave M.
Yep. He
Hi, Dave
says, is there any formula or way to estimate how much a drawer may expand from dry winter conditions to humid summer conditions? How much do you allow for expansion?
Yeah. The best thing to do is to buy Bruce Hoadley's book, Understanding Wood. And now some of it you're going to have to do on your own. You need to find out what the relative humidity in your house is, and you can buy a how do you pronounce it? Hygrometer. Put it in your house, and it'll show you the relative humidity, and you'll be able to figure out how much that changes from the extreme of one season to the extreme of the other season. Then what you can do is determine what the moisture content is in the wood in your house, which would correspond with the relative humidity. And you can do that now you don't even have to have the old type of moisture meters. You had to stick pins in, but now you can it senses it from just touching it. So you figure out the moisture swings, and then go in Bruce's book, and he's going to tell you by species and by cut, because a board cut plain sawn versus quarter sawn is going to move a little bit differently. So you can go in and determine all of that, how much that's going to move, and then you obviously apply it to your environment. So if my relative humidity causes my wood to go from 6% to 8% in my home, then I can figure that out. It's all doable, and determine that for every 10 inches of wood, I'm going to need to allow a 1/16 of an inch of movement, or an eighth, or whatever it is. And certain woods will move more than others. So a little bit of math, and you can figure all that out. So how do I do it? I don't go through all that math. You know me better than that. So the most humid time of the year for us is going to be August, September. So if you build your drawers in that time of year, then you can make them just fit, because they're only going to get smaller from there. The hard part is if you build your drawers in February or March, where everything is shrunk to its maximum amount, now you have to guess, how much is this thing going to grow between now and then? If you have it in your own possession, once it's finished, you can always go in and adjust it as is required. But if you're selling something and you're going to send it to somebody on the other side of the country, that makes it complicated even more, or even more complicated, I should say. But apply that. Make your drawers in the moist time, and you're safe. Make them in the dry time, and it's risky. Buy the book. Bruce Oadley's book. It's got charts in there. It's really good. It's interesting. Find out how certain woods move more than others. Next, Rick.
Guy Laflamme. He says,
Guy?
Yep. Good evening to the team. For the drawer, how
Not Guy Lafleur. Guy Laflamme?
Yeah. If it was Guy Lafleur, that'd be something. Considering he's passed away.
We'd still answer the question.
Yeah.
Guy Lafleur wants to know, where did you get that slap shot, Rob?
And that hair.
That's where it came.
For the drawer, how do you figure out how long to make it, if not making it for the length of the cavity?
The length of your drawer, how do you determine how long to make it?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
If
Okay.
you're not,
So here's the only time this comes into account, or comes into...
show them the drawer on your chop saw cabinet.
Yeah, I know, but excuse me, I think you're missing the point. This case is made out of mahogany, and the case is solid wood. I think it's 12, no, it's not quite 12. No, it's more than that, it's 12 3/4. So this case is going to get longer and shorter, which means my drawer, remember the drawer is wood in its length, so we know that wood expands this way, but wood does not expand lengthwise. So when I build this, I have to take into account that hole is not going to be as deep in certain parts of the year. So if you were to make your drawer so that it actually touched the stop was the back of the cabinet, then what you would end up with is a situation where part of the year your drawer would go way in, and the other part of the year your drawer would stick out. So in that case, you have to allow for it. You have to have, you're always safest if you have your stop right up here on the front.
You don't, do you?
I don't. Oh, not on this. I do on these. There's the stop right here. So that stop comes up against the drawer front. So same situation. This is going to expand and contract. So I don't have, my drawers are probably 1/8 of an inch shorter than the hole. And because the stop goes up against the drawer front, then this is always going to be the same. That's not going to change. If the cabinet was made out of something stable like veneer over MDF or plywood, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. You could use it, actually stop against the back of the drawer if you wanted. So the only time you have to take that into account is if your case is made out of solid wood. Next, Rick.
Aaron Fenn in the chat.
Hi, Aaron.
He
Aaron's
says-
a good customer.
Yeah, he says, in Rob's drawer construction, I often see the tails extend proud of the pinboard. Why is that?
Say it again.
The tails protruding
On the
to
back?
the drawer front. No, on the pin board. I assume he means on your drawer front.
Say it
It
again.
could mean both.
Say it again. I didn't quite understand.
He says, in your drawer construction, I often see the tails extend proud of the pinboard. Why is that?
It could mean
The
both.
tails expend proud of the pinboard. Well, you're talking about that on the back? If you're talking about that on the back, I just do that because I use the exact same marking gauge setting here as I do here. And the drawer back is usually always going to be narrower than the drawer front. And I just like it when it comes out beyond that. Alan Peters didn't. He would always flush his off. I like them like that. I'm pretty sure that's what you mean. I think I did it. I think I do it on, yeah, I do it on all of them. Not necessarily a,
But if you're using your tailboard as the drawer stop, right on the back of the carcass, it's easier to adjust that than it would be the whole thing
Yeah.
if it was flush.
yeah, I built one of these and I ended up having to plane off the back because I ended up making this too long, which is the reason why this one isn't going to be part of the finished cabinet. That one got scrapped. But yeah, nothing, just aesthetic. Yeah, nothing but aesthetics. No reason. You can do it either way. Next, Frick?
We're out of time.
Yeah, but give me one more. End on a high note.
Aren't you giving away the Moxon bike?
Yeah.
Can you explain what a drawer slip is? That comes from Eric Camarado.
Yeah, I will. I'll show it to you. So, I love the thought behind it too.
The tape's easiest to clean out. Oh, that one. No.
Yeah,
the,
this.
no, the sandpaper. There's 6 boxes.
Fine.
Yeah, that's not what I would have done.
So, you want your drawers to be light so that you're not pulling out a 50-pound drawer plus the contents. So my drawer sides are relatively thin. Because it's dovetailed front and back, you can get away with really thin drawer sides and they'll still be really strong because of the dovetail. The downside to that is the wear surface. If you turn this upside down, the wear surface is pretty narrow. So what we do is we add drawer slips. And drawer slips are just pieces of wood that we glue to the bottom to increase the width of the wear surface, but they don't go all the way up. In other words, that would defeat the purpose of the weight. Make them so that they just, you can do it many different ways. I do it like that. I did a different species just so you could see, it would make a feature of it. It's glued to the side of the drawer. The grooves are cut in the drawer slip itself, and that's where the drawer bottom is fit into. But it's just a way of increasing the wear surface without...
It's usually a harder wood, too.
Yeah, without increasing the weight. And you can also fillet them so that it makes it easier just to clean out your drawers and makes it look a little bit neater, and you can put a little bead on it. You can do all kinds of things with it. But its primary function, increase the wear surface without increasing the weight of the drawer. Okay, so it's 8. We're going to be back on Thursday night. We're going to give away our Moxon Vice. How many people do we have apply, Frick?
945.
So 945 people. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, we're gonna do stuff like this every once in a while, and just for fun. So all they had to do in order to apply was
So they had to like the video, share it, follow us, RobCosman _ hand tool woodworking, and comment that they did that. So there was four things they had to
simple
do.
little things,
Yeah.
and then the result is they get to get a Moxon Vice for free. So did you have you got all the names in?
Yep. Just give me 1 second.
This is the only thing we're giving away tonight. We're going to do the rest of our draw on Thursday night, which is the second half.
Okay. Let's see.
If you're looking to
second.
build a Moxon Vice yourself, we've got these in stock. You can go to our website and pick one up. We've been selling them like hotcakes recently because of that video, but it's a great way to be, if you want to learn to cut dovetails, you have to have a good vise that will hold your workpiece solid. It's so difficult to try to learn this when your board is flopping back and forth as you're trying to saw. And this is the least expensive and at the same time the most effective way of holding your workpiece, with the exception of building a Scandinavian style shoulder vise that I have, but that's just the hardware alone, and that is $500.
All right, so I've never used this app before, so let's give it a shot. It automatically detects who's done all 4 of those
It'll blow up.
things, so let's see. And again, this is on Instagram, so this will be your Instagram.
Oh yeah, right.
username.
So back to what I said. So go check us out on Instagram. How do we find us on Instagram?
RobCosman _ hand tool woodworking.
Seriously, all that?
Yeah.
You can search RobCosman.
Yeah, just search Rob Cosman.
Okay.
So our winner is Edward Falkenberg.
Edward Falkenberg.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
It doesn't say, but Edward, if you can send us a message, and we'll make sure that you get your new Moxon vise. Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations, Ed or Edward. It probably goes by Ed. All right, listen, we will see you guys on Thursday night. We will be in the thick of it. We have 14 students showing up here between now and tomorrow night. I have a very accomplished woodworker assistant coming who was in our class a few years ago. His name is Chip. He'll introduce himself on Thursday night. Luther will be here, and you pop in and you'll be able to get a little taste of what it's like. Chris is already here. He just couldn't wait to pick out his bench. All right, we'll see you guys in a couple of days. Have a good weekend.